The folks at Jeno Fishing not only bring you the Low Budget Live podcast, they bring you the Low Lifer sweet deals over at JenoFishing.com. All you got to do is use code LBL25 and you'll get 25% off of everything on the site just for being a low lifer. Listening to this weed eater voice saves you money on things like the tin cannon. Maybe you want a Offspring buzzbait. Maybe you need some CD25s, old big deep diving crankbaits, because we're trying to make cranking great again at Jeno Fishing. And it's all about the action and the new Dawn minnow that's coming. Trust me, you're going to want to see that too. JenoFishing.com is where it's at. LBL 25. Express Boats, let's hang the banner. The all-welded aluminum bass smashing machine, the Express X21 Pro. That's what I'm running right now. Got the 250 Yamaha show on the back. Fastest hole shot in the game. More tackle storage than you can shake a stick at. Trust me when I say if you go take a ride in one, you'll be like, why didn't I do this sooner? They've also got bay boats. They've got a little bit of something for everybody and every budget. Check them out at expressboats.com because the folks at Express, they've been building excitement since 1966.
Damn Biloxi blues, it happens every night.
Every old night.
And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
No.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
Nope.
No,
Nope. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Right to the hook right here.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, the not so live variety from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill here in beautiful southern middle Tennessee. And this is the podcast for Monday, August the 25th. You bunch of low lifers, and I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, just like I do each and every week. And I got a good one for you today. I'm really looking forward to the conversation we are going to have. And lots going on in the fishing world, lots going on in my world, per the norm. And I got to give a quick shout out to my dude, Cash Olsen, who I delivered that beautiful Express 21 LE to this week. Cash was a young man I met him and his dad, Matt. Met the entire family now, amazing family, but from Kauai, Hawaii. And this young man is embarking on his fishing journey. He has moved and he has started at the University of Montevallo. And I got to go down there this week, meet up with them, drop off the boat, and spend some time with them. Awesome people. But Cash is one of 88 kids. 88 kids on the University of Montevallo fishing team in Alabama. That's insane, man. And I met some boys from South Carolina, Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio, and in just the brief time I was there. And that's pretty cool, man. When you're an old man like myself, and bass fishing has been truly the biggest thing in my life since I was probably 10 years old. I'm a fishing nerd, and high school fishing didn't exist, and now I'm getting into that with my boys a little bit, and it's crazy to see how big that is and how kind of nuts it is, to be honest. And then to see this college fishing thing, which didn't exist when I was at the University of North Alabama, be what it is now, to the point that you got a young man that's chasing a dream from Hawaii. I mean, and sacrificing, his parents are sacrificing his he's gonna just, I can't imagine as a parent, that gap, that distance in between. But man, I think it just speaks to that love that they have for him, and then his passion for what he's all about. So very cool. So shout out to my dude Cash. I think he's going to make waves in this old sport of bass fishing, and I look forward to cheering him on as he does. So I got to do that this week. And then This bass fishing world, man, the MLFLW RIP Forcewood Cup, RIP FLW Tour, they have the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals are now called the Pro Circuit again. So we're changing the name. They dropped the entry fee down to $5,000. I think it was $5,500. If you win, you get to go to Redcrest, which is a pretty cool deal, in my opinion. But they bumped the top first place prize back to $100,000. And yeah, we'll see. The biggest storyline for that, because things change all the time, I think with the success MPFL's had this year, I think they're trying to, hey, let's see if we can pull some folks over here. And I don't blame them. It's a competitive world, right? But the MPFL had $100,000 first place prize, and I think that's kind of what you're seeing here a little bit. They also have a championship, entry fee free championship. They're going to have, they reintroduced that, I guess, this year, which was a much needed thing in that tackle warehouse realm, in my opinion. And yeah, one third of your day can be spent staring at the cheater box. The forward-facing sonar rule is a little weird, I will say. I don't know. In BPT, I know how they police it. I'm not sure how that's going to work. And I think maybe you'll see that in the Toyotas, BFLs, and things this 1/3 of the day. I'm not hating on it. I like the idea of it. I just think from a policing standpoint, that's going to be, I don't know. Do you have to declare I'm using it for these 3 hours? Can you use it for 1 hour here and then you turn it off and then you can use it again? I don't know. I'm not seeing anybody go into depth on that yet. And if I have, I apologize. If it's out there, I apologize. I've missed that being in my own little world this week. But that's a little strange for me. I think that's why MPFL is like the simplest, and the fact that you just can't use the damn thing. It's just gone. The old Ford front looker is gone. Bassmasters is all gas, no brakes. You can use it. Now, they haven't announced what they're doing for next year. Rumor has it they're not going to do anything. But that's kind of the word. And now it seems as if, MLF is adopting what they did in the Bass Pro Tour, this 1/3 deal. This year the Pro Circuit was, or Invitationals, whatever it's called now. It's Tackle Warehouse, okay? I just call them the Tackle Warehouses because Tackle Warehouse has gotten so much of my money over the years. It's ridiculous. And all of us, we've all got drawers full of Tackle Warehouse t-shirts, I feel like. So I just call them the Tackle Warehouse, whatever it is. It's just the T-dubs. So this year they were 1 day with, 1 day without. And so now they have, and I think a lot of the people fishing that didn't like that. And now they're going 1/3. We will see what that does. I don't know. We're living this uncharted territory where everybody's trying to figure out the best case scenario for the folks that don't like forward facing and all those keyboard warriors. So there we go. Tackle Warehouse. The Tackle Warehouses getting a little bit of a facelift. So should be interesting. The other thing that was interesting this week, and I'm recording this on Sunday, as I tend to do, the Elite Series up on the Wisconsin River, the old mighty Mississippi up there in La Crosse, Wisconsin, is not over with yet, but the Angler of the Year race is over with. Congratulations to Chris Johnston, back-to-back Angler of the Year. Insane. It's also insane that Trey McKinney was also nearly back-to-back as well. He was in the running, kind of had a mess of an event up there. He made a valiant, comeback that last day, but still just came up just a little bit short. But Jay Shakurat also in that race. Those three dudes had incredible seasons. It's so hard to get in that position with that group. And in any group, you win Angler of the Year in any group, whether it's the Tackle Warehouses or the MPFL or the BPT or the Elite Series. It's so hard, but let alone to do it 2 years in a row. So wild to see. But Chris is an animal. He's been an animal for a long time. No surprise there whatsoever. But one of the best Angler of the Year races that I can remember in a very, very long time. I like it when you can't call it before the last event, and I know for those guys working at Bass doing commentary and things like that, it makes their job a lot more fun when you can kind of live in that drama, right, as it's unfolding in front of you. And it was a fun one. I found myself glued to Bass Track and paying attention a pretty good bit. Didn't get to watch a lot of live this week, just a little bit here and there. I will say this. For all of you folks that are, and I chimed in on this last year, the Rob G, Chris Johnson, Corey Johnson thing last year, whatever, at the St. Lawrence River. Man, the number of people that are like to Chris Johnston, it's split. They're either people like, did Trey McKinney's mama buy him the success in the comments, or it's Chris Johnston is a hole jumper winning angler of the year. Like, those comments are nutty, man. They're so nutty. Both of those dudes, regardless of anything that's floating around out there, those two dudes absolutely catch bass everywhere they go. So sometimes we could just be like, yeah, congratulations. But that doesn't happen in the world we live in anymore. But that I've seen so much of that. They're like, well, Chris's brother Corey put him on it. Dude, they split their winnings. They talk about everything. It's a pretty solid game plan. Who can you trust more than your Canadian brother? You know, like, I don't know. I don't see it's well within the rules. Trey has a group that he works very close with as well, of anglers on the Elite Series, which they're allowed to do. And they communicate back and forth. And there's so many of those clicks that I just think that's funny to see. Now, the Rob G thing last year was crazy. And I talked to Rob on the show and I talked to Chris on the show last year, but that was all a little wild. But I just don't, I don't think Chris is bullying his way into Angler of the Year. He's a fantastic angler. So congrats to old Chris Johnston on yet another one, man. Back-to-back. I think there are only a handful of guys that have ever done that back-to-back in the Bassmaster world. So very cool to see. All right, something else that was cool to see. I talked about this last week. Now I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited for this young man. I have known his father since I was a wee little dude, like 12 years old, 13 years old. I met Randy Howell, and he's always been very kind to me, and a fishing hero of mine for sure, and someone that I got to be able to, talk with at a young age about pursuing this as a career and getting into this industry and whatnot, and always just a class act to me. And then, Randy's just been at this since he was so young, and his wife, Robin, they've just been one of those bass fishing families, right, over the last 30 years. And now to see his son, Laker, win Leech Lake, go into the Bassmaster Classic, narrowly missed winning at Santee Cooper last year, and now he's going to join the Bassmaster Classic field for next year on the Tennessee River. Too cool, man. So the only regret I have about what we're fixing to do is that Randy's not going to be on here as well, so I could kind of see the emotion of Randy. We got to get Randy on and do a follow-up about this as well. Maybe Randy and Robin, but ladies and gentlemen, let's talk to him right now. He is not, I've known him since he was little. He's not so little anymore. I believe he comes in about 6'5" these days. Ladies and gentlemen, Laker Howell. All right, here we go. Here he is, as promised, Laker Howell, the not-so-little son of Randy Howell, the champ. How tall are you, Laker? Let's get into the hard-hitting questions right out of the jump here.
Hard-hitting questions, man. I like it. So I'm 6'5", and I fluctuate my weight. I work out quite a bit, so I weigh a lot. So I'm usually between 234 and 239.
A big boy. So if you're thinking about hole jumping, Laker Howell, think again. Now, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever been around, just like his daddy. But understand, he's got a little more thickness to him than Randy. Okay,
just a little bit,
a little bit more flow to you than your dad, and a little bit more height. Man, he's a hoss. And I said that in the intro. I was like, I've known this dude since he was really small, but that was a very long time ago. I feel like since those days came about. So, dude, obviously, congratulations on the Leech win. I text you and I actually said, dude, you're going to the Classic. That has to be so surreal, man. It's getting hot everywhere in the country right now, and the folks at Gill want to cool you off. You can use the code LBL20 at checkout at gillfishing.com on some of their amazing sun shirts, their shorts. Get a rain suit, get your life together, and use code LBL20. Don't use anything that Todd Castledine tells you ever. Don't use this code, okay? Don't use this code. It's been brought to my attention. He's trying to sway people from using the LBL code. We can't have that lowlifer. Show him what's up at gillfishing.com. Pro Guy Batteries, ProGuyBatteries.com, manufacturers of some of the best batteries in the game. Why? Because they've been in the battery business for over 40 years, whether it is their AGMs, their lead acids, or their new Alpha Series lithium line, or even their chargers. They've got it going on. ProGuideBatteries.com. You can use code LBL10 to save money at checkout. And trust me, you can trust the folks at Pro Guide Batteries. There's a lot of battery companies out there these days. Trust somebody that's been in the business for a long time. ProGuideBatteries.com. Baitworks.com, bait-wrx.com. That's the exclusive online home of this little nugget right here, the LOB Power Finesse Jig. You can get it there. You can use code Duncan-10, DUNKIN-10 on everything at baitworks.com to save you a little cash. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my buddy, Michael Cowart, Shallow Tails Adventures. You can find Michael at Shallow Tails, TAILS adventures at gmail.com. If you are in the panhandle of Florida on a vacation, you want to go try to catch a tarpon, you want to go try to catch a redfish, there's nobody better. Captain Michael Cowart, one of the best dudes I know. Go check him out. Shallow Tails Adventure. You will not be disappointed with a day on the water with Captain Mike.
Every time I hear it, it's like I wanna understand what it means, and I think I get it. Because like I've been behind the stage, I've thrown stuff for sponsors before in the arena. I've done all the stuff you can do at the Classic without ever being in it. And to be in it, like I've rode the arena with Dad when he won and I was a kid. So like I've gotten to feel the feeling of riding the arena, but I really haven't. You know what I mean? Like coming in to God, I was thinking about that the other day, like the song. That's going to be a hard part. You got to pick that.
Yeah.
Because you pick a bad one, everybody remembers that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
It's so funny. Justin Atkins always said his childhood dream, more so than just fishing the Classic, was figuring out which rap song he was going to play when he got to go in. Like it's what he always jokes about, and now he's fixing to get to do it yet again. And so that would be a hard one for me too. I'm such a music nut.
Dude, I'm stressing about it because like I'll sit there like Instagram, for instance. This is a good example. For Instagram, for instance, I try to never use the same song twice, right?
Yeah.
Because you gotta have the right vibe to your stuff. I'll spend 20 minutes looking through songs, dude. So like I don't even know what I'm gonna do with myself with this Classic. But yeah, I mean, gosh, the day that I didn't know that it was 10 days that I'm gonna be there for 10 days. I didn't know that. I knew it was a long event, but I didn't know that. I'm always there to work it. So like when I get there, I'm there for 4 days and I'm gone, right? I didn't realize you got 3 days of practice, then there's 3 days of like media, and then you got the tournament. So like, shoot, I'm used to a single off day. My fish are gonna be all over the place.
It's a gauntlet, man. I think it's I actually had somebody that a friend of mine was asking me about that last week. He was like, now how does a Classic work again? He's been to it several times, but he's like, those guys aren't fishing, a couple days right before it. I'm like, no, they show up 10 days early now, the way they do it. And used to, you did practice. They only got like 1 day of practice back in the day. Now they allow like the 3-day pre-fish. Now your dad can quote me on that or can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure in the past they only got 1 day. There was a cutoff, and then you had 1 day, and it was like you went out with your media observer, your marshal, they called boat numbers like it was day one, and you had to be back in for your weigh-in time. And I'm pretty sure that was all you got back in the day. But that's now, that's terrifying. But then the 3 days before and in the spring where everything changes so much by the hour, it is, I dare say that most guys that win it have no clue that they have a chance going in, right?
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think, after Leech Lake, I would agree with that in any tournament. I had no freaking clue I was going to win that. So, I mean, the fact that, especially on Frog, dude, that was dumb. That was really dumb. But yeah, the Classic deal, I don't know. I'm going to take it one deal at a time. All my buddies are fired up. My wife is just ecstatic. My parents, obviously, being a dad, how crazy that's going to be for him. But like, I've already got 3 of my buddies already volunteering to ride in the truck in the arena.
Just to experience that. The crowd, man, at Knoxville will be wild. Do you have, I know you have a ton of experience on the Tennessee River, obviously being you're a Gunnersville boy, but what about that Knoxville area? Have you ever spent any time up there at all?
No, I haven't. And I was looking at the boundaries and stuff the other day because, I'm obviously I can't quit thinking about it now. So, looking at that, it was we got some weird water to fish, and I don't know how I feel about it. I know, obviously, Tennessee River's Tennessee River. The same colors work anywhere. You know what I'm talking about in the winter,
Right,
early
right.
spring and stuff. But I don't know. I've never seen the places that we're going. I've never ever put my boat in the water for sure. So I mean, all I've seen of that place is when I was there at the Classic last couple times they were there, and I saw the water. Yeah, that's the only time. So I got no idea what to expect. I know, Gussie that first year he won it on the final day, just catching 2 bass because he had so much weight the first 2 days. But he only had, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he only had like 18 or 19 pounds back to back, didn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't not big weights, and now up there you could see some big weights, but man, it just seems like when the Classic rolls to town, that venue, something always happens.
I know something crazy is going to happen, and Lord, I really hope it's something to me. We'll see what happens, but just getting to go on the stage, I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. Look, you're talking about me being a bigger dude. I might try to pick up Mercer. I don't know. I mean, we get.
I think he's got a bad back, so be careful. Don't hurt the man.
No.
They made. Do you get, if you do pick up Mercer, being that he's a Canadian, do you get charged a tariff? I'm not sure with all this tariff stuff. I don't know if Bassmaster's paying a tariff to have him on stage or not, but I'd like to see what the exchange rate is on that, dude. So before we dive completely into the Laker Howell story here and how you got to this point, you got another task ahead of you that we've not even brought up yet early in this podcast. And that's the fact that you are qualified for the EQs, meaning that not only you're going to the Classic next year, but you could be side by side with old dad on the Bassmaster Elite Series next year if these 3 tournaments go well. Knowing the schedule, I like your odds, especially you got a wheeler one in there. You're not too far from there, but man, I know you've got experience on Champlain and Okeechobee. How are you feeling about those 3?
Yeah, no pressure, right? I could be fishing with dad next year.
No big deal.
Yeah, just 3 tournaments is all it stands between me and that. However, it's 3 tournaments with 100 of some of the stoutest competition that we've seen, I think, in the Opens in a while. Last year, I don't think that we'll ever see a group of guys better that made the elites than last year. That top 9. Yeah. That top 9 is just unbelievable. This year is going to be, and I'm not saying this just because I'm in it. I really think this year is going to be a close second. Than some of the names that are in this, or there's some heavy hitters, but 10 people have to go. It's bass fishing, so anything can happen. I mean, that's the thing is something that I really am excited about with this format, because last year, all 9, I feel like that was very fair how they did it. This time, not that it's not fair, I think it brings a different mental side to it, because
it does. Yeah.
I started in the Toyotas, right? Toyotas before the Tackle Warehouse Tour became what it is now. I qualified the last year for that. And that's a 3 tournament gauntlet just like this. And you had to be in the top 5. And the highest I finished was 7th one year. And they went down the list, right? So top 10 is all that can go. They don't go below 10th for that, or used to not. So, I think that having that little bit of background and understanding the pressure of that, and, being kind of somewhat used to 3 tournaments will be a little bit of a benefit to my mental side, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's boy, there's a lot riding still. I mean, I won a tournament, right. The last one I feel like is the right one to win if you're going to win one, what I mean? Because then you got momentum going right into it. So I'm hoping that the Lord will let that just carry over, and we'll just roll right in and see if we can have a couple strong events. Wheeler, like you said, I'm close to it. Last year, finished 3rd in that Toyota Championship, and boy, that was fun. So if they're doing the same thing again this year, I learned a lot about the place last time I was there for that event in the fall. I really like fall fishing, so I think it's going to be a shootout, but top 10 go, so somebody's got to make it.
Might as well be Laker Howell. That's what I say. I had Trey Swindle on a couple of weeks ago after he was at the Chesapeake Bay there, and we were talking. Do you have, and he had mentioned, what kind of an average it takes, right, to get into that top 10 with only 3 events, because that's how the divisions used to be aligned, right? You had to make a certain, I forget what it was, maybe top 5 or whatever. They've changed it a lot. I'm old and I went to county school, Lakers, so I have a hard time keeping up. I say that a lot on here, but But do you have a finish? I mean, obviously you got to just do what you can and see where the chips fall, but do you have like an average finish in mind that you think it will take to make the Elite Series?
So on average, I mean, I've been doing the math a little bit on that. So I don't think it's going to be as high of an average as people are thinking, because see, now that's what would happen in those Toyotas is it's a mental thing, right? So you get in that and you're thinking, okay, well, you definitely can't have a bad one, right? So like in a long run of like 9 tournaments, you can have 1 or 2 bad ones if you cancel them out with the top 10. In these, you can't have a bad one. So you got to make a check every event, but it's got to be a good check. So realistically, I think if somebody averages, I think 10th place will squeak in there with an average of a 35th place finish per tournament.
Okay. That would be
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And with this bunch, you never know. Now you also have some elite guys are going to be mixed into this, the way I understand it too, that they do they have to fish all 3, or are they allowed to cherry pick? I can't remember how that works.
So they can cherry pick, but they don't hurt our points. So it's cool how they do that. The field is based off of 135 boats, like as far as payout stuff goes, because I was looking at the other day too. And I think right now there's 6 double qualifiers. So I'm one of 6 because, going to Leech, there was a lot of guys that didn't go. So there would have been more, like Tristan McCormick and, a lot of the other guys that qualified in the first division. They didn't want to drive all the way to Leech Lake, which I understood. So only 6 double qualifiers. So that means that we've got 93 people total that are going to be ready to go in the opens. And then they're going to open it up to the elite guys as well. Now, where it gets weird is the guys that just fell out in the elites, they have a chance of taking a spot back, right? So they have a chance of saving their spot. So they can drop into those. They ain't got to go through the gauntlet we just went through of 4 events. Since they're already an elite qualifier, they can drop down to those because they're already out. It's like their last chance to get back in, right? So, I feel like the more the merrier, because if we're going to be, that's the other mental thing is a lot of guys are worried, oh, well, the elite guys are going to drop down and fish with us. Well, I mean, if you're scared to fish against them now, why do you think you're going to be able to do it on the elites? You know what I mean?
That's my point all the time. Like on NPFL, when I hear guys, we've had some anglers this year that are frustrated they're fishing against Jason Christie or Greg Hackney. And I'm like, dude, it says National Professional Fishing League. And I've had some guys, not to call people out necessarily, but I've had some guys that they tell you they're pursuing this for a career. And I'm like, well, buddy, you better get used to fishing against some folks that know how to catch a bass.
Yeah, you better, because if you don't, you're going to be in for a long ride.
There are no gimmies at any level of this anymore, right? Whether it's high school, college, the opens, the Alabama Bass Trail. I mean, dude, bass fishing is as hard right now to succeed at. That's why your win is just that much more special. And I know it has to be too, because it's not easy to win, man. It's just it's not easy to make the top 50 in the points for the EQs. I don't care what anybody on Facebook says that it's not in those. It's not easy, dude. The top 50 is not easy to come by.
I would love, and I'm not saying this because to be cocky, I would love to see the people that are saying, oh, well, if you can't make the top 50, you shouldn't be fishing. Y'all come do it. I want to see it.
Come get a dose. It's easy to say that from out or your desk at the job you don't like, that kind of thing. It's always easy to make those kind of comments. And look, I do it about like Tennessee Vols football team. I'm like, how didn't he make that pass, man?
I do it watching American Ninja Warrior. I look on the TV and I'm like, oh, I could have totally grabbed that bar, man. That's easy. No, I'd fall on my back. So I get it, but
there's always armchair quarterbacks. But yeah, man, it's certainly an accomplishment. And this group, I guess for me, I do like that they're letting the elite guys, if you're getting booted, have a 3 tournament, because it's, as it's so hard to get there. And man, you can just have a couple just off years. You could be the best fisherman in the world. And we've seen this regardless of what your name is. You can slip a little bit, maybe Jacob Wheeler doesn't slip. I don't know. I don't think Jacob ever slips, but
I don't think he's human. I don't think he's
he's
human.
Not. He's AI. He's the proof that he is definitely the first AI generated human. And they use it for bass fishing.
He's got like a bass Holman sensor. He just throws and there's like a 5-pounder sitting there.
He does every time, for sure, man. Well, I look forward to seeing the EQs are really interesting to me, because being that they're all in the fall, I think sometimes you see there are definitely in my 30 whatever years of being around bass fishing, there are guys that excel in the fall over other fishermen.
Yeah.
Definitely. You definitely have, and my little buddy Trey Swindle, I know he's one of those guys that he's kind of licking his chops because he's like, dude, I love to fall fish. Fall fishing is which I mean, Champlain, that's a little different. If you were going to 3 stingy, like southern fall reservoirs, I think you might see a different group of qualifiers than you would with this spread out. But I think these are really intriguing, man, this year. I like that they did this. I think all eyes are going to be on it if you're a bass fishing fan to see how they shake out. When is the first one? How long?
The first one is like the 2nd or 3rd week of September, I think.
So you're fixing to be rolling then.
Yeah, I got I got back from Leech, and I think I had like almost 3.5 weeks at home. So I've been home a week, so I got 2.5 weeks before I hit the road again. But yeah, that Champlain I think is because like Okeechobee and Wheeler, those are pretty common lakes to fish at any time of the year. But I don't think there's ever been a tournament in the fall, like September, on Champlain, like at a national level. And if there has, I don't know it.
Maybe some. I want to think maybe a Toyota back in the day, maybe, and I'm sure maybe. And the FLW had the FLW series for a while. I want to think maybe they had one there. Maybe Bass had one there late August, early September. I can't remember. I feel like there's definitely been the FLW the championship before it was called the Forest Wood Cup in 2001, which was the year you were born, Laker Howell.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, it was the year you were born. But when September 11th happened, those guys were there practicing on Champlain for a championship. Yeah, Wesley Strader, a lot of friends of mine were up there. And they canceled it, obviously, with the events. But yes, that was going to be. I always think about that, when you talk fall on Champlain. But I want to think maybe there was maybe Iconelli won one up there in like September one time, the old Bassmaster Tour. I want to think maybe that time frame. There's been a big one, so that one will be fun though, man. I've begged, like MPFL being around those guys. I'm like, dude, let's go up north in the fall, like let's go October. Let everybody bundle up. Forget the wind and the waves. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm ready for it, dude.
October, dude, it'd be so much fun.
I'm ready for it. I ain't done my homework on it yet, obviously, because I didn't know that. But that'll be. I normally do that when I'm, on the road headed up there. I'll watch my stuff.
Sure.
But anyway, Champlain, I think is going to be really cool because, there's going to be a scope deal, but I feel like those bigger size smallmouth, because we always go there post spawn, right? So it's like right as it's ending, they're real skinny, and the ones that win are always the bait chasers because you got to get out there and scope with them. And then guys like me that enjoy, top water fishing and stuff like that, we don't do quite as good because our fish the same length, they're just real skinny. I've been plagued by that many times up there, but this time around, I don't know. It might be a little different. You might see some top water action from a lot of guys, some shallow water, normal fall style fishing where it could get cool. And then Wheeler, that one's going to mess with some people's heads. That's a weird lake in the fall. I'm excited about that one.
Period, man. That's home, and that's a weird. Wheeler's a weird one. Period. I don't care when you go there. I think it's just one of those. It's a strange pond, man. It can. Yeah.
It's a really weird pond. And then Okeechobee, I'm really curious what they're going to do with that one because the water's so low.
That's what I keep hearing. Yeah,
golly, it's scaring me because I want to break nothing, dude. I already break stuff as it is on places that are safe. You know what I mean? So if I go somewhere like that, I'm doomed. I'm going to be out there, paddling around my flip-flop trying to catch bass.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, buddy. You get that breaking things very honest. It runs in your DNA. There's a flat top fella that is your father that break anything back in the day. And
I love it.
But dude, this is one of my favorite Randy Howell stories, fishing a Bassmaster Open when I was probably 19 or 20. And of course I had met your dad when I was like 12. So I knew your dad real well.
Yeah.
We talked a lot. He was always a mentor to me at an early age. And we were running up there by like Buckhead Ridge in that area, if I remember right. And he was ahead of me in a boat lane. And all of a sudden, his boat's just gone. He just hooks left into the reeds. And I mean, I'm not following him very close, right? And all of a sudden he's just, whoop, and he's gone. And he stands up waving his arms, and I stop. His lower unit, they had worked on his engine the day before, and did not tighten the bolts, and his lower unit just fell off. But he was on his way back to weigh in. He's like, come here, come here, come here. So I go over there. He jumps in his boat. His co-angler jumps in my boat. They got their fish, and he's like, go, 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 go. He's on my front deck. It'll barely get on pad. This boat I have was terrible, dude. It wouldn't take off or anything. He's on of course, his little skinny butt's up there trying to make it, I'm like, Randy, you're doing nothing. Like, he's all but laying on my trolling motor. But I got him back with like a minute to spare for weigh-in. But truly following him, it was just like he just decided to take the craziest turn of all time, but his lower unit just fell off. And I just happened to be the guy right behind him when that happened. But I've seen Mr. Howell tear some things up over the years.
I'm glad you told me that story. I am very glad you told me that story because, man, I'm gonna tell you, I know he tries to like, you gotta, as a father, you gotta like act like, oh, you never broke anything, so your son has an example.
Dude, it's do as I say, not as I do. When you're
he gets on to me so much because, like, I don't even really try. I'm just like accident prone, I guess, on the water.
Me too.
Like, I go to I know all the service crew guys by name. I go over there and thank the Lord for them because I don't think I would have ever fished a tournament if it wasn't for them. But just about every other event, I don't go every event now. I've gotten a little better than I used to be. But yeah, I'm glad that you're telling me a story about him actually breaking something because if you ask him, man, his boat's always pristine. He's never touched a dock with it. Don't
let that man fool you. And it'd be the same thing if somebody was telling my kids stories about me right now and when I get on them about stuff. Trust me, I've known your dad a long time. Yeah, he's hit some docks before. He was skipping that floating worm up under some docks, rubbing some docks. There ain't no doubt in his day. He used to always, if you were ever at weigh-ins, I mean, he was notorious, dude, just last minute. Like, he was going to fish the last cast. And I've just remember so many times him coming in, just, be there as a fan to watch the weigh-in. You're like, where's Randy at? And then you're like, oh, there's Randy.
There he is.
Like,
he
when
still
you
does that
old gambler, and all you could see was that flat top sticking out of that like 21-foot gambler, and he had that sucker just skint on. Yeah. Amazing. But such a good dude, man, and a dad that I know you've been very blessed to have, and I know you understand that as well as your mom, because they were such a team in this deal. I mean, it's Randy and Robin. It's not just Randy, right?
Yeah.
And she's been around for the roller coaster that is a life of professional bass fishing. When did you decide, you know what, I'm going to chase it? When was that like age for you, or what was the moment that caused that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It was, the cliche answer would be at the Classic when he won, but I think honestly it was before that because, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to ask him whenever I see. I'm going to ask him whenever I make the elites one day. I'm going to ask him, Mercer, if he remembers this or not. But there was a tournament. It was one of the first years Mercer ever, became the MC for Bassmaster back in the day. And I believe it was one in Texas because it was pouring down rain. And, they still do. They had the stands set up out there. The seats were on the ground, and then the very front, there's the reserve seats for family and, all that kind of stuff. So I would always be up there. Well, I was getting old enough to where I was like getting really eat up with it, and, it was pouring down rain. Everybody's under the tents. And I was out there, no rain suit, sitting on the front row, watching the weigh-in by myself. There was nobody else in the stands. I'm sitting there alone, soaking wet. And he called me out in the stands. And I don't know if that was exactly the moment or not, but that was definitely a core memory because just being, because I don't want to miss anything, like I was out there. I was determined I was going to watch that weigh-in and see my dad come across the stage.
That's awesome,
man, if I got to go across the stage, with him or I guess it'd be against him, but in my mind, it'd be with him, like that would be literally a lifelong dream come true. I know a lot of people dream about it, but getting to watch it for as long as I have, like since I was an infant, I mean, just being all around the country with him and everything, that would be a literal dream come true, man. Just to be able to grasp that,
Oh, it'd be amazing. And guys like you and little Alton, and him being so successful, and now Cal Lane, and there's so many of that with Bo Browning. There's so many of guys that make me feel very old because I knew all of you when you were very young, and now I'm very old.
You ain't old.
Oh, I'm older than dirt, son.
I
Trust
think
me.
you color. I think you color your beard white to make yourself
No,
look the
no,
same.
that's just now that is wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom that causes that. That's what I like to claim, anyways. A lot of
Yeah,
stress and
a lot of
wisdom.
stress.
When you had that epiphany as a young man, though, hey, I'm going to go for this,
Yeah,
and you go to Randy and Robin and you say, I think I want to pursue this, and they know the difficulties. They know sleeping on people's couches, getting by before he wins that FLW event on Wheeler in '98, right? That's kind of the
yeah,
catalyst and things. And so many things happened there that went their way after that. But they were, the struggle. They know the struggle, and you yourself, man, the near misses and the grind of it. What was their reaction when you said, "Hey, I'm following in your footsteps"?
they try to talk me out of it, really, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't know, now that I'm old enough and I'm married and I'm, eventually going to have kids here in the next few years or so. I mean, it just feels like I don't know that I would be able to tell my son confidently, hey, this is a good path to take. This is what you want to do to set yourself up for success. This is the hardest lifestyle I think that you can really like chase. You have to love it. You can't love if you're coming into this because you want fame and being a pro. If you're
Yeah.
coming into this because you think you're going to make money like crazy hand over fist the first few years, if it's like a get rich quick scheme because you want to go catch fish, you don't want to go to an office job, you're going to be out of it pretty fast. I mean, you have to love fishing to your core before you can fully actually go and do this for a living. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Cause like you see, I think Brandon Polinick said it the best, like in that interview that he was doing, that moment, right? I think the quote, I'm not 100% perfect on this, but I'm gonna paraphrase a little bit. He said the moment before your brain registers there's a fish on your line to the time you set the hook, that's what every one of us live for. And it is like, I mean, the other day I didn't have a clue I could win Leech Lake on that frog, and I'm just going along, and like 9:30, I had 20 pounds in the box, and I'm like, man, this is freaking fun. I'm gonna see how many I can actually catch in here today. Every one out of hook. I had no camera, nobody around me to watch me catch them. I was just out there having a blast by myself. Like, oh my gosh, I got there. That was the coolest blow up I've ever seen. So I feel like you really have to have a true love for it before you can come do this, because there's been a lot of tournaments where I'm out there freezing my butt off because you can't put enough clothes on, or it's sleeting, there's lightning popping over your head and you're thinking I'm about to die, that you're like, what am I doing out here?
Why am I doing? Yeah, why am I doing this? There,
Yeah,
there are people sitting at home right now, warm. They're watching football. They're hanging out. Yeah. You
yeah,
got to be. I've said, and everybody that listens to this show hears me say this way too much, but it's redundant at this point. But you got to be obsessed. I
yeah,
think that's the thing too. You got to be obsessed, and you got to be built different, man. Because if you're not self-policing in a sense, where you're going to get up, and what I mean by that is push yourself.
yeah,
You're gonna push yourself to make those drives. You're gonna push yourself to get up early 10 days in a row. You're going to push yourself to do the map study, to put
yeah,
in whatever you can, tackle prep, all the things that all the guys that do this at the top of the game do so well. And man, there are so many guys your age and younger that are obsessed, but you always start to see them kind of shake out, right? When they get to those opens, you start to see it's like there are a lot of them that are just full, they're on fire. And then a couple rough years, and you're like, okay, you start to see it. And rightfully so, like you
oh
said,
yeah.
way easier ways to make a living. But if you love it and it's in your blood, like it is for you, Laker Howell, it's like, what else were you going to do?
I don't know. I think I would literally lose my mind if I had to do a different job than this. That's what keeps me out there in any event, because it's like it's this or be miserable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I choose fishing any day of the week, man. I mean, it is a true gift to God that I even have that in me to want to do it. I feel like anybody that does it can say the same thing. It's like, because there's nothing better than getting up, being at a boat ramp with 150, 200 other guys. Every one of them thinks they're about to go out there and bust them. And then you have this big boat race. The sun's coming up. It's something that you can't buy it. You can't
No.
find it anywhere else. It's like it's literally a drug. I think that's why it's a band of gypsies. All of us are a band of gypsies that travel around chasing a dream, and it's addicting. You can't get it out of yourself. Once this got you, it's over. You're going to be in it for life. I mean, you see guys that retire, but they never retire. You know,
Never
they're always
go back,
around.
man. Yeah, I've stopped fishing big tournaments, and then I just work in the industry now, which I'm grateful for every single day. But you never shake it, man. Once you get the bug, and just for me, just fishing, I would go fish. I would fish 7 days a week, every week if I could. I'm just as obsessed now as I was when I was 10 and I got bit by the bug. Like I love it. And you're right. Like once it's got a hold of you,
Yeah.
it rarely turns loose, man. A lot's got to happen for you to kind of get out of it.
Yeah.
Speaking, let's go back to Leech Lake real quick, because you've made the comment a couple times, and I remember reading the article on Bassmaster after you won that you truly, I mean, it was a weather shortened event. You get 2 days, but you're like, man, I didn't know, especially on a frog, that was going to win. Was there a moment on the water that day that you felt like you had a chance at all, or did it start becoming real when you got back up there with old Hank Weldon?
You know, I had an inkling. I was like, about 2 o'clock, I thought to myself, because it was gassing. I mean, the wind was so bad. I was already doing the math in my head. It took me a while to get to where I was. And then going back, I was like, man, I'm gonna have to give myself a lot of time, because I don't know how big them waves are out there, because the wind, it never quit blowing. Now, luckily, the zone I was in, the wind was blowing out of it, right? So it didn't mess me up or alter my bite, which was a blessing. I mean, that was incredible to even know that they were going to still be biting there. Because in my mind, on that morning, I'm like hitting them waves. I'm thinking, I'm screwed. I ain't catch a bass.
This is not good.
Yeah, because wind is a killer on a frog. It ruins it. So I got up there, and I'm frogging around, and third fish that bites is a 3 1/4, and I'm like, holy crap, that's nice. And then I lose a big one, right? I fire over in the edge of the rice, and it was a hard edge. That's something that I was paying attention to, was the conditions. A lot of the guys that were in that stuff were getting way up in the legal zones they could get into, and still trying to fish the holes, because when the sun's out, then fish push up into stuff. But what I learning on Gunnersville a lot, that frog fish are the same across the country no matter where you go. If you learn their internal clock, it kind of just translates wherever you go. So first thing in the morning, I get in there and I see my starting zone, and I'm like, that's just too far back in there. I don't think that's right. And so I went on back to the back where, I had a couple big bites the day before, and they were on the edge. It's a hard edge of rice. It was nothing like anything else in there, and it was deeper. And I got to the edge of it, and I'm like, man, I think this cloud cover is going to pull these fish out. So as soon as I got on the edge, I fire over in the edge of it. And sure enough, a wave parts the rice real slow. And that feeling, you're like, oh God, please bite. Please be a bass.
Please don't be a pike. Yeah,
please don't be a pike. Don't ruin my frog. Just eat it if you're a bass. And it come under my frog, and it lifts it. And it's 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, this is about to be crazy. I might catch a big one and go the rest of the day. Frog disappears. Never made a splash. It just went under. And I set the hook because I felt her. I gave her a couple seconds. I hit her. As soon as she come up, it was over 4. It's a real good one. Because I caught so many threes that day. Like, you feel the weight of them. You can kind of tell. When I hit this one, it was solid. And I'm like, oh, that's a good one. It come up and it was jumping. It jumped the second time, and it just ripped out. I don't know how. It's the only fish I lost the entire tournament that would have helped me. But I got back up, and I'm like, crap, dude, that's not good. So I squeezed my water out. 3 casts later, I land by some pads. It looked like a freaking dog landed on my frog. It scared the crap out of me. As soon as I hit it, I know that anybody else in there heard me hook this fish. I was like, oh my God. Hit it, goes up in the rice, comes out. This time it buries up. So once they bury up, typically you got a pretty good chance of getting them in, because they're not flopping or nothing, So it comes in, I see its mouth sticking out. All I can see was the bottom jaw, and I grab it. And at this point, I didn't know how big it was, and I ripped it in the boat. It was a 5 1/4. And up there, that's a freak. You know what I mean? Like, a 5 1/4 is like catching a 7+ pounder in the South. Like, you go out there and you hook a big giant one. So when I got that in the boat, I had a moment. I was like, I might have a chance today. But then I told myself, because tournament fishing, you can't ever count
Never.
yourself in, get that
That's
hope in your heart, because then you get crushed.
Crush. Yeah, that
Crushes it.
dream crushers on every corner. Yeah.
Yeah, every corner. So I caught that one, and then I stayed on that edge the entire rest of that. I didn't really get back up in it hardly at all that second day. And dude, everyone that bit just they were mad at it. It was so much fun. Everyone that bit it, it was like one of those good days that we used to have on Gunnersville back in like the early 2020, early 2019, like where it was just freaking unreal. It was unreal. I caught so many on that frog that day, and I'm 24. I don't really get hurting much. My elbow started hurting so bad from setting hook and dragging them out. I had to take Advil, dude. 12 o'clock. Dying.
That's a good frog day. If
Oh my gosh, it was
you're getting
fun.
if you're getting braid elbow at 24, that's a good frog day. So
Yeah.
you say at 2 o'clock, you're like, maybe how far behind were you weight wise from the leader?
I had 1910, and that guy had Kyle
22
mentioned
or
he had
something.
22 even.
Okay.
So I was 2 pounds and 6 ounces back from him. So when I come in, this is when it started getting real. You know, I gave myself 50 minutes to get in, because I was like, if I got to plow, because I can't get anywhere in these waves, because I was going right with them. That's how you spear and tear everything up.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I'm going about 25, 30. I stopped a couple times, make sure my live wells were refilled, beating the fish to death. I didn't want to kill nothing in case I had a chance. As I'm running in, I'm thinking, man, there might be a chance. I don't know. This might have a chance at this. And I get in, and immediately I look up on the stage. There's nobody in the hot seat. And I'm one of the last flights. I'm thinking, why is there nobody in the hot seat? It's already like I'm about 169. There's only 220 of us. There's not many guys left. There should be somebody sitting up there. So when I get up there, Hank weighs me in 20 pounds, 3 ounces. And I'd already talked to Kyle in the line. Kyle had 4 fish, and he was sitting over in the corner, and he said, well, if you got what you had yesterday, you know, as long as nobody else passes you, you got it. I was like, well, cool. So then I'm still thinking, okay, thanks. I don't think I have it. You know, there was 20 guys above me that first day, you know, there was 19 20-pound bags. And in a normal tournament, you're like, there's no way one of them guys don't catch 18 and a half and pass me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
So I get up there on the stage, he puts me in the hot seat, and then he's toying with me and stuff. But where it got real was when I looked over into the bump tanks, and I saw, you know, the lady checking everybody into net. She got up, walked off, and I see 6 dudes left, and he gets up, Kyle does, and he shot me a look, just a smile, and he shook his head, yeah. And I was like, there's no way, dude. There's no way. And it was, man, it was crazy. Golly.
And now mom and dad they weren't there. They didn't get to be there, right? They were watching on the phone. I feel like I saw Randy's post about that.
Dad will never hear the end of that one. He talked her out of getting a car.
Oh boy.
Yeah. At like 10 o'clock, I already had my weight, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she was like, I just got this feeling I should go. It's only 6 hours. I can make it. And he was like, no, he needs like one more 5-pounder to win. And that's what I told myself the whole time. So I didn't stop fishing. I was like, I need another 5-pounder, I think, to have a chance, right? Because that's what you always think. Because my scale genuinely was so far off. It's never been that way off, man. I got it. This is a cool little God story, I think, that I'll share. So my scale, I use the yellow scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never been more than 6 ounces off in my life on any scale, ever. I come in, it's within 6 ounces. It's as accurate as it can gets. So as I'm riding in, I was just praying. I was like, Lord, if this is meant to be, make these fish weigh what they need to weigh. Well, I got in, and my scale, I took a picture of my scale said I had 1896, which in my mind meant I had 19 and a quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I got in, I had 20 pounds, 3 ounces. It was off 1 pound and 4 ounces. I've never seen that scale. I'm gonna test it afterwards, you know, like fun fishing to see if it was just that day. But dude, that's what really blew my mind, is when he called out 20 pounds on stage, I was like freaking out, because I told myself all day, if I don't have 21 pounds, it's not even a chance.
Can't win. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, my dad talked her out of out of getting a car, so she didn't end up coming. But I had my roommate Andrew Banky with me there. Man, he's awesome. And then there was a bunch of other people around the stage that were all fired up and videoing and stuff. Just all, it's a cool community
It
of everybody.
is.
It's like when somebody that pretty well is about to win, no matter who it is, all of us are around the stage, cheering
Of
them on.
course,
It's
man.
cool, man.
Everybody that does it knows the struggle, right? And then the tournament staff as well, like Hank and those guys, they've known you for so
Yeah.
long. Like, they can't pull for anybody. I work for 2 tournament trails. You're not supposed to pull for people, but like, man, this guy's grown up in this. This is what he
Yeah.
wants. I mean, everybody was excited. I met Andrew, I believe last year at the Classic. Nice
Yeah.
young man. I don't know him well, but he's a nice guy. You run with a pretty good crew everywhere you at. You got your cowboy hat wearing buddy Nordby there.
Yeah.
Like Nordby, and then Lucas Black. You roomed with Lucas
yeah.
at a few events I saw.
Lucas is cool,
intense.
man.
Lucas is a good dude. He's a good
Yeah. Yeah. And then I got old Ethan Green, Little
Yeah.
Bite.
Yeah, I've seen Ethan around. Yeah, man, that's what it's all about on the road, especially. It's just family on the road. And I would like to apologize right now to Randy Howell. Randy, I apologize that I brought that up because I am married just like Laker is. And if Robin was upset about that, you talking her out of a car, I just reignited that, that fire.
Ooh.
I might have got Mr. Howell in trouble. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Robin, give him a break. He has had his dream crushed so many times. He understands. He thought he needed another 5-pounder. Dad was wrong though. What is your favorite fishing memory from being on the road, or favorite memory from traveling? Because you guys, I know you did the homeschool thing. You for many, many, many years. Y'all were on the road on the Bassmaster Trail. What's one of your favorite or your favorite memory besides a classic? Because I feel like that's obviously your dad winning the classic. That's got to be way up there. But do you have one that jumps out at you besides that from all those years?
Yeah, I do. I think my favorite fishing memory is probably all the time we spent at really we went to so many different little lakes and stuff, the Great Lakes and all that. When we stayed up north, we had the camper, we'd be on the road for months. But I think my favorite fishing memory was the Open that my dad won the year after he finished second at Oneida. That Open that he won, that was probably one of the coolest, because we got to go fishing. We know so many people up there, man. They're like another family of ours up there. And then, the place we got to stay, they had little private lakes right there, plus on the dock. I mean, I think that's probably, if that ain't my favorite, that's top 3 at least. Golly, that's a hard question to answer on the spot, for real. I've never actually really gave it a lot of deep thought. But yeah, probably that one. I mean, Oneida I wish we'd have a tournament there again. Like,
no doubt. I don't know why it disappeared from all the schedules. Like we go to so many of these places, rinse and repeat. Man, Oneida is I feel like so much better than it used to be.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Me and Ethan, we stopped there. Me and Ethan stopped there together last year before we went to Champlain for the Invitational, and it was stupid. We caught the fire out of them. We didn't even know really where to go. We just started looking at random flats, and we beat them down, man. It was one of the most fun lakes. I forgot how much fun because like back in the day, it was one of the best topwater places. It's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I wish we'd go back there. But yeah, that place definitely holds a special place in my heart. Not only because Dad won, but because of all the memories we got to make there. And yeah, I think that one, and then maybe one more would be catching fish off the bank at what lake is that? What's the one in Louisiana right there on the Texas line? Toledo.
Yeah.
Toledo. Me and Mason Chapman, Brent's son, we had a swim jig bite on the bank right there. It was so fun. It was so much fun. All that grass, because it was all the release fish that all them guys are bringing into the park there.
Y'all just working on them.
We caught them while the weigh-in's going on. People are pulling up, and we'd have a little patch of grass hidden behind the dock, and you could throw the swim jig up in that and just get flushed right in front of it. It was so much fun. So yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of incredible memories traveling around. I wouldn't trade that for the world, man.
No, what a childhood too, man. Just to be wherever your folks are at all the time, traveling around, and that kind of education, I would argue, is better than sitting in a schoolhouse. Schoolhouse. Listen to me, I'm showing my age, but sitting there. You got the set schedule every day. I've tried to be that with of course, my boys have been in school, and I'm not brave enough to homeschool them because they would kill me and I might kill them. But that being said, I think traveling is such an important thing to do, even if it's just not very far from your core area where you live, but just to show you that there are other things out there. I think growing up on the road is such a unique and gives you such a unique perspective on life. I really do. And you I'm sure you agree with that, man. It's just you get to see so many things. I think about you guys getting to go out west, right? When Bass went out there, and like, how else would you have gone there? Really? You know what I mean? Like in life as a young man. So I think, I was always grateful that my dad, we traveled, man. We fished outside of our comfort zone. We went places. That was one of the main things that I was always so, especially looking back now, that I'm so grateful for, that I got that opportunity to see something outside of, just Lawrence County, Tennessee, where I still live and I love. This is what I call home. But I'm always grateful that I got to see a lot of things outside of there and still do,
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Cause like traveling and stuff, man, I think, if you're going to do anything in the fishing world, you got to you got to accept the fact that you're going to spend more time in your truck than you are on the water.
No doubt.
Right. So, and seeing the stuff, I feel like the world is a lot bigger when you don't go places in your mind.
That's right.
But then when you are traveling all these places and you're like, oh, there's a 12-hour drive to Texas. Well, like most people, you hear 12-hour drive, it's like, oh my gosh, you got to plan for a week before you go.
Plan for a year.
Plan for a year. It's like,
seriously. Yeah.
It's like a huge deal to go 12 hours, but then for any of us that are in this, I mean, you get used to it, and it's like 12 hours. Oh, that ain't that bad. That ain't like we're going up north again, so
no, you're numb to it.
Yeah, you're numb to it. You realize how small the world really is, and then traveling out of country, it's just a little further on, a plane ride or whatever to go other places. So, I mean, it really does open your mind to what there is out there,
No, I love that. Like, I always joked, I'll make a lot of times for work. I'll get up super early. I'm going to do it in the morning. As a matter of fact, leave here like 4 or 5 o'clock, go see customers in Arkansas, almost on the Texas line. I'll be out there for a couple of days and I'll turn around, drive 8 hours back. Like, I'm not going to be gone that long, but that's just a commute to me anymore. Right. It has been for almost 20 years. And it's funny whenever, people, and this is not me making fun or anything like that, but there are people, they're getting ready to go on a beach trip. A year out, they're planning, dude, it's an 8-hour drive. And I'm like, man, I did that on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was just a Tuesday. I got there by lunchtime, man.
Yeah, that was Tuesday, man. That was heck. And then I'm going to come back home, turn around, drive 7 the next day to go to the East Coast or whatever. Like, I've just done that. But it's, it's about lifestyle choices and what you do. But it's always, my wife was like that when we first got together. Marissa would be like, you're going how far? And I'm like, oh, I got to go. It's 10 hours. She's like, what? And then I would, you go to a Champlain. I'm like, yeah, it's 19. She's like, you're driving 19 hours? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it all tomorrow. She's like, what? Like, yeah, I'll just leave here early. I'll be up there at some point late. And, but it is funny. It's kind of what you get used to, man. You were born for it. There's no doubt about it. All right. Last thing. Your dad, obviously you outshadow your dad in height, obviously. But it's hard to kind of get away from, I think people peg me for things that my dad was known for, right? And that kind of thing, right? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's the cliche saying. But your 100%. I feel like your dad has always been this, he was one of the reasons I was always so obsessed with sight fishing, him and guys like Shaw Grigsby. But your dad was always, man, he's the reason I loved the floating worm when I was a kid and still do. And, but he's a junk fisherman, right? Like your dad is like, he's like a swindle in that, right? Like they just know how to get it done. They grind it out. If it's a deep bite, they'll figure that out. If it's skipping docks, they'll figure that out. Spawn and deal, he would always excel at those sight fish deals. But what would you say is Laker Howell's deal? Like if you got one thing that you, man, if it sets up on a tee, and it sounds like frog fishing, if I'm just jumping the gun, but if you got one thing that you're foaming at the mouth, if it sets up that you're all about, what is that technique for you?
I'll give you my top three, because there's a few. So obviously with Dad's background and stuff and growing up with him, he definitely instilled the sight fishing deal in me, right? So, and we joke about it, like last year there was 3 events that were sight fishing, and I don't think I missed a top 25 in any 3 of them. And like, because I love that, man. That's just that's not like a tournament. When you get in something that a tournament, you love the technique you're catching them on. It don't even seem like a tournament. Like you're catching them and just keep going. So I think that would be number 1. And that's crazy to say because I just want a frog, but that's number 1 is sight fishing for sure. Number 2, and this has become one of my favorites here. This is my deal. I think early spring, like right before they're about to go on bed, I always seem to excel at that time of the year when I can put a chatterbait in my hand with a Zako on. Because like I almost won last year. Most of my bigger checks are made in that time of the year. The summer I kind of struggle with a little bit, I'm noticing, because I didn't make a check in 7 events from like April to the other day. So I came real close. I was consistent on points, but I never made a check, and that's where it kind of, you get into that summer type deal and going to weird lakes and stuff. That's my weak point. But the chatterbait in that early spring time frame is probably my second favorite. And then I don't even know if the frog is really, that's probably like 4th. The frog is probably like 4th place. Because like if they're doing anything other than that chatterbait deal and the sight fishing deal, if it's something to do with like what were we about to get at there? I had the thought in my mind and it's gone now. Fall fishing. I like fall schoolers. That's my other thing, dude. Because like I've spent so much time out here on Gunnersville doing it, and learning them, because that's the time frame. 3 or 4 years, 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I couldn't catch a bass in the fall out here, and it was driving me nuts because I'd hear people catching them. And I made it my mission to learn it, right? To get out there and learn it. I spent days out there with just looking and finding stuff and figuring out what they look for in the fall. And that school and bite is probably my favorite now. Last year, I finally got it, I think, somewhat figured out, because last year we had 4 days in September that we counted them. Because, people get out there, they're like, oh, we caught 100 fish today.
Oh, yeah. Which,
and everybody's reaction is like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you did. You probably caught 40, but you caught it 100. We counted every one from the time we set the hook on the first one to the last one. We caught one day before the Bama game kicked off, me, Ethan, and his cousin. We caught 151 in 7 hours. And then the next week, I went out there with my buddy Devin, my fishing partner. We caught 115 in 6 hours by just us two, mostly on top water. And I had 2 other days last year. We caught 100, and we had 106 one day and 101 the other day. So, we had some, I really enjoy that fall time frame of fishing, but we just don't have any tournaments that time of the year, right? So, yeah,
that's
they're
all
coming though.
I would say I am sight fishing and schooling fish occupy number 1 for me in my life. Like I'm the same way, dude. I am, from August to October, dude, I'm just all about that life. And I'm jonesing right now because I don't have a boat, and I'm picking mine up hopefully this Wednesday from Trent Palmer at Sonar Pros. But
oh man,
I'm putting you on the spot, Trent. Have my boat ready Wednesday. He said yesterday it would be ready, but yeah, I'm jonesing, man, because right now this is when I like to roll down on the good old Tennessee River for sure.
Yeah, they're starting to do their thing.
Oh, they're definitely starting. We got some cool, like this week, we're having some cool nights. Yeah, it's fixing to get right, man. I can't wait. Laker Howell, dude, I'm proud of you. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud for you. So I appreciate you spending some time with us, lowlifers. Tell all these jokers where they can find you if they're not following you already on all the social media stuff, because that's important these days. You got to keep the socials.
Yes. So, like I said, I'm a fisherman at heart, so I keep stuff really simple. I don't know if they can see my name that I can see right here that I'm pointing at. Can they see that?
They can see
All
it.
right. So all you gotta do is
right
type
there.
that name in right there and take the space out and put fishing at the end of it across all platforms, and you'll find me. It's real easy.
There he is.
So
Laker fishing.
there you go. Book a trip with me on guide, man. Well, I can't. That's the other thing. We're following the elite rules. I can't fish gunners with my buddies right now. So somebody book a trip with me. Let's go. You know, I want to at least watch y'all catch fish. I'm not gonna fish with you unless you ask me to, but I get to take you fishing. So come on with me. We'll go catch some bass.
Go catch over 100 with Laker Howell right now. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. The next Howell in the Howell family going to the Bassmaster Classic. Laker Howell. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Luke. See you, brother.
Well, that's all she wrote with Laker Howell. I appreciate him taking time out of his day to join all of us low-lifers, and good stuff right there with the young man. Not so little man, but the young man. Just again, I can't fathom what Robin and Randy, the emotions that they're going through right now, that he's succeeding in his quest to be a professional angler and he's going to the Bassmaster Classic. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. I'm going to take you out with some Biloxi Blues. And I'll see y'all next time. See you.
Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts. Well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name.